You're listening to Parasearch Radio, news, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio. Parasearch Radio, broadcasting to the UK and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. You're listening to Kerry Greenaway and Mark Manley on the Dark Mirror Paranormal Show, only on Parasearch Radio.
Good evening and welcome to the Dark Mirror Paranormal Show. My name is Kerry Greenaway and we are live and kicking in the studio tonight. I have Mr. Mark Manley.
Good evening, I'm not Kerry.
And I have Gemma.
Hi, darling.
She's not Kerry either.
All the way live from Salem Con, I have Mr. Carl Hutchinson in the house. Good evening, Carl.
Good evening, guys. How are everybody doing?
We're doing fine.
We're all jealous.
Yeah, we're just chilling out, car park. Want to introduce you on. This is Mark. He's the organizer of Salem Con.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Live in the UK.
Mark.
Thanks for having us.
Mark, how are you?
I'm not too bad, mate. You all right?
It's a parking lot.
Yeah, I know.
It's an English expression.
It's a car park.
It's a car park.
I've got one good English expression for you that you need to know, especially at any paranormal convention, and that one is aliens! And that's all you need to know.
There are several aliens around.
Bye, guys.
So, guys, this has been planned for so long. I bet it's like all hands on... Oh, they've gone. Have they gone?
No, they're just about a
Oh,
foot
they're
away
still there.
from me. So
All hands on deck at the moment because it launches your VIP party tonight and then tomorrow you go straight into your convention, don't you? Give everybody a bit of a broad overview here in the UK, sitting here jealously, watching it all occur on the socials. What have you got planned for people attending your convention?
Well, tonight is the VIP party, so we go from 8 to midnight. It's a grand time. There's plenty of alcohol being served. I think responsibly, possibly.
Possibly not. Yeah.
As long as everyone gets up on time tomorrow morning, we open the doors at 9 a.m. and we have our vendor floor. We have about 47 vendors going tomorrow. We have our celebrities doing some guest speaking. MJ will be speaking on a panel to start the day off. So it'll be a nice little paranormal panel hosted by Dr. Spectre Frank Sinelli. And that'll go on until 5 p.m. We get a cool little break in the afternoon, evening for everybody to have dinner and enjoy Salem a little bit. And then at night, starting at 8 p.m. to about 10-ish, we're going to have a nice little private, intimate gathering with John Zaffis and Grant Wilson. And they're going to be doing sort of a little sharing of ideas and techniques and things like that, and tell some stories of maybe some things people haven't heard before.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, every year you're saying that this is going to be your last one, and every year you come back. So can we just say that this is part of the paranormal convention circuit now? Can we put this as a definite date in our diaries?
We'll have to see next year.
I fully intend to be there the next time Carl goes, because I've already said I'm going to save up and come over with him.
You have to, if it were to ever happen. If you have,
Is that
we
an
would love
if?
to have you.
Is that an if, or is that we will see you next year?
It's an if. I'm not committing. I'm not doing it.
You can't blame a girl for trying, though, right?
Yeah, I'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
So, Carl, a bit of a laborious flight for you over to Salem Con, right?
Oh, it was such a hard life.
Yeah, I saw with the champers and everything. Yeah. I mean, you had such a hard life, yeah.
I got picked up by a nice car, dropped off at the upper class lounge access, walked through security, and I was in the lounge within 5 minutes of turning up at the terminal.
Oh, what a chore! What an absolute
Bloody Mary first off the bat. Just waiting for the flight to MJ. I got MJ into the lounge with me, but the flight was empty. There was only literally on the whole plane. There was about 70 of us on there.
You joking?
Oh, party on the plane then. Plenty of room to move around and spread out.
Well, where I was sat, there was 5 people out of 19 seats, and there was 6 cabin crew for 5 of us.
Oh my God!
Really?
Yeah. So did you manage to get her into the upper class kind of place?
No, she basically, because MJ had her own, literally because of how empty the plane was, she had her own row. She set up her own blanket fort, and I did send the person down to go and get her to come in and to have a drink at the bar with me. But I believe she was either asleep or she was non-committal. I don't know. I think she was either asleep or in a blanket fort.
I can imagine her setting up a blanket fort amongst all the seats.
Well, she told me she literally got the covers and put them over the top of the chair, put all the armrests on a row of 4, and literally just crawled in.
Oh, bless her. Well,
but literally,
that's the way to do it, I suppose.
Everybody literally, by the sounds of on their neck of the woods, in the cheap seats, as I call it, they had literally their own rows.
So you get to Salem after how many hours travelling was it?
Well, I was up at 5:30. Car picked me up at 7. I was in the lounge by about 9 by the time we got there. It's a 2-hour drive from where I am to Heathrow. Then it was a 7.5-hour flight. And then we got picked up from Boston Airport, 45-minute drive to the amazing Hawthorne Hotel. Checked in, and then we basically just kicked back and started off how the weekend or the week's going to be.
It sounds very windy there, Carl.
Well, we're literally, because where Salem is, the road we're on, but we walk probably about 600-700 yards downwards. You've got the sea.
Yeah.
And they're forecasted. They're forecasted tomorrow snow showers and all things like that. So it's chuffing cold. It's chuffing cold.
I'm still jealous.
Don't.
I still love the big fat cigar.
Well, that's part of this. It's the tradition they have of the car park or tailgate party that they have. Bourbon, cigars, chill, chat, just getting to know each other. John Zaffis has just turned up and he just waved at me. So
go grab, Carl. That's what
I
want.
No, he's just arrived, so he's got to check in and stuff. So I'm not going to bother him until he's settled.
Damn you. I thought I would just go and sort of like shove a camera in his face. Well, maybe I wouldn't. I say these things and I wouldn't dream of doing it either.
There's so, because obviously I'm, as they've nicknamed me, I'm the token English dude. The British are coming. They're trying to get me into a red jacket and stuff like that.
Don't start wandering around saying tally ho and jolly hockey sticks, and I do believe you shouldn't be doing that.
Well, they all try to imitate the English accent. They all sound like they're extras from Mary Poppins.
Yeah, call blimey Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
So, Carl, looking at Salem itself, I mean, it's such a historic place. It's well known for the witch trials, the tragedy that happened in Salem. How much of it is actually preserved, or is it not really?
All of it. All of it.
All preserved.
Yeah, you would have a field day. There is so many crystal shops, magic shops.
Oh God, don't tell her that.
You would literally, not to be blunt about it, you would cream your knickers over it.
Wow.
But yeah,
she did that in Lyme Regis once.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like psychics. There's just across the road from the hotel. There's the Fatima Psychic Research Centre. The other side, we've got the Witches Museum. In the square, you've got the famous bewitched statue of her on a broom, and they filmed some stuff for Bewitched in the Hawthorne Hotel.
Awesome. So, have you had a chance to look at anything yet? Have you actually? I know you've only been there a day, But have you been and seen any of the sites yet?
Yeah, we went and had a look at the witch's graveyard, where all the tragedy happened, where they were buried, all the alleged witches were buried, and there's a stone for each of the witches. We went round, we've been to a couple of churches. We had breakfast yesterday at a place called Red's, and I've never eaten a breakfast like it in all my life. I didn't have to eat for the rest of the day. And it was just a sausage pancake, and it was just sausage omelette, and it was just I'm still suffering from it a little bit at the moment.
Is that why it's so windy there?
You soldier on.
Of course you do.
As you do.
As you do. At 10:30 this morning to wash that down.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah, kids, drinking's bad.
Don't try this at home.
It's me looking at the camera, grinning. Yes. With his big fat skull. I'll tell you what, if we're the Paranormal A team and you're Hannibal, I must be flipping howling mad Murdoch.
Yeah, I would say you're more Murdoch. You're not Face.
Oh God, no.
I'd say let's say Gemma's BA, and Kerry would be Face.
Thank you.
Yeah.
She fixes and gets everything.
So there we have it.
And he knows
Does
that's
that
quite
mean
close
that I'm
to the
always
truth.
injecting Gemma trying to get on a plane?
Say that again, Mark. I didn't
Sorry, I
hear
didn't
you.
hear that.
Does that mean I'm always trying to inject Gemma in the bottom and get her on a plane?
Yeah, beg your
Less of your
pardon.
fantasy, Mark. Less of your fantasy. This is a kids show, remember?
And apparently I have.
Oh no,
the
it's the
charm
Dark
of the
Mirror
devil.
show, isn't it? Oh, anything goes. Yeah, sorry.
Kids show.
So, what's coming up in regards to Salem Con? What kind of speakers? I mean, we've heard some big hitting names so far: Frank Sinelli, John Zaffis. You know, you mentioned off air Grant Wilson's there, working with MJ at the moment. So give us a vibe. I mean, I bet it's buzzing. The atmosphere must be absolutely buzzing already, and we haven't even kicked off on the convention yet.
No. The people have been like I said, people have been turning up since like Wednesday, and it's because this is the 5th year, and it's like it's got the same vibe as Sage. It's all a family, and they're so welcoming. Obviously, I'm first time here, and they've all opened because obviously I know a few of them already, like Frank and Isabella and people like that. And Grant, met Grant last night, and yeah, brilliant. Scott Grimwald is here, which is from Paranormal Paparazzi. He did a show with Aaron Sagers, and Scott's here, and yeah, we just get on like a house on fire, and everybody's so friendly. You got like Sage, you got direct access to the guys. It's just an amazing. It's such a good vibe, and it's like day 2, and yeah, I've gotten another 5 more days. So.
Oh God, it's such a hard job. Such a hard job.
It is such a hard life, such a hard life.
Now, it is our lovely Cole Hutchinson's birthday today, so he is live from Salem on his actual birthday. So, wishing you a very happy birthday. We did give him a sing-song pre-air because no one wants to hear us not sing.
No, they don't want to hear that. No.
In fact,
there was dogs running around the parking lot thinking somebody was murdering cats.
I was just going to say, we thought we was doing a nice thing, serenading you with happy birthday, but we could all see your face, and obviously we get the impression that you wasn't too keen on the idea, Carl.
The thing is,
it was the dogs jumping out of windows going,
Yes, it's my birthday. I'm the sort of guy that doesn't really like to make a fuss, so I'll just blend into the background and stuff like that. And there's some sneaky people that are here that I was supposed to be going to dinner with MJ, so me and MJ were walking to the restaurant last night. We got to the restaurant, and next thing I know, I find out there's a table of 15. I turn around, and I've been my good friend Jeff Bollinger suddenly appeared. He came over specially. He's not at the convention, but he came over because he lives about an hour and a half away. Came and had dinner with me, and everybody is like literally everybody walks past and says hello to me, go happy birthday, and they all do the English accent and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't like to make a fuss of it, but it is very humbling. it's got a little bit emotional last night. I think that could have been the bourbon as well, because all these people and my phone and my Twitter, my Facebook has just gone absolutely bananas. I think I woke up to nearly 200 messages from people all over the place, and Scott Dustin Parry sent me a message because obviously it's Zach Bagin's birthday, and Scott Grimwell's a good friend of him, so Zach sent me Scott got Zach to send me a message because he's same birthday. So yeah, it's been good. It's been really good, really good.
Nice one, mate. Glad you're enjoying yourself.
Yes.
Nearly as much fun as we're going to have when I get to Kerry's in 2 weekends.
Oh God.
You know,
It's not quite the same as Salem Con, is it?
it's kerrycon.com.
Quite the same.
Kerry.com.
That's a different channel, everybody. Anyway.
That's for another night.
So, Carl, what sort of what talks are you looking forward to the most? I mean, I know MJ's doing a talk, but apart from MJ, what other?
MJ's doing a talk with a few of the guys, being hosted by Frank Snelly or Dr. Spectra. That's going to be quite good. That kicks off relatively early, 9:30. Looking forward to obviously John, Grant, all the speakers. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to be interested to see how the difference between a UK convention and the Americans. At the moment, there's nothing to. Yeah, if they do it next year, anybody listening, get your asses over here because they're just so friendly.
Are you going next year, Carl? If it does happen,
if they do it, I will be already.
I'm with you. I will be with you for that.
Yeah, we've discussing other conventions that we're going to go to. Michigan, we're going to go to next year. Go and see our friends Brad, who organises Michigan. So I'm getting invites left, right, and centre to do stuff. So Scott wants to do something with me, and it's really good, really amazing, and it's just good fun. It is really good fun.
Well, Salem.com is not the same without the aliens guy there, so it needs.
I think maybe they're doing quite well without.
No, I think you're mistaken.
Yeah, there's a couple of the vendor stores. There's a couple of the vendor stores that are like aliens and stuff like that. So UFO research teams that are here as well. So.
Well,
okay, now I am.
I actually have a bit of a bone to pick with you and Mark, to be fair.
I know what this is. That's your fault.
We've actually got some topics coming up on the Dark Mirror show for the future. And so I've been looking into this, and oh my God, is all I can say. I'm like, well, paranoid now.
What's that in the glass behind you? Is that, I can see like a black suit? Behind you, Kerry.
What?
In what way?
In a black hat and a black suit?
Oh, mate, honestly, with my internet search, I'm expecting men in black and aliens and all sorts to come visit in. I'm like worried that the cattle down the road are going to get mutilated by government conspiracy and not actually an alien. Oh my God! I mean, I'm like in full blown conspiracy theory mode.
I've been reading all the stuff we're into, Carl.
And Area 51 has got a lot to answer for. As all I'm saying, oh my God, it's like well scary.
Colorado Airport. That's worth a laugh.
Oh, I think he's choking on his cigar, everybody.
I'm all right. I'm still here.
You're still there.
Still here.
I did not inhale.
So you've been scaring the life out of me with some of these topics we've got coming up.
We've got some interesting, something to really get our teeth into. Some good old conspiracy theories and different types of subjects on the old Dark Mirror show coming up. So yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good fun.
I'm
good
looking forward
things,
to
though, right?
For the next one.
Scary. Is all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
some of it, if you believe the hype behind it, yeah, some of it's quite scary, but hey, not as much scary as ghosts, I suppose.
I think what Kerry's possibly got wrong is the alien abductions and cattle mutilations. I think she's possibly got them the wrong way round and thinks that cows get abducted and earthlings get their bodies cut out.
Well, I've been talking to Gemma about this, and how freaked out am I about all of this, Gems?
In all fairness, some of the conversations we've had of recent times have been what can only be described as hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. There's no other word to sum it up. It's got to be said.
I'll be at work at silly o'clock at night, and I get sent a message from Kerry going, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, no,
It's all a bit government involved for my liking. I don't want to believe that the government is lying to me on this level, but it certainly looks like they are.
I'm watching you now. Yeah.
So going back to Salem and Salem Con, do you know much of the history of Salem Con, Carl? Of Salem, sorry, not Salem Con. Salem.
Well, Salem, obviously, Salem's famous for the witch trials. Mary Bishop, all the 13, I think 13 of them that are buried in the witches' graveyard. So yeah, it's but the town's hasn't. All the buildings look amazing. It's just, and they're all original period features, and you walk around and you can just, because it hasn't changed much. Okay, modern like roads, electricity and stuff like that. But you walk around some of the back streets and you go like tiny little alleyways that go between these wooden buildings, and everything is as it was. You look at the witch's house, which we walked past earlier. And this thing hasn't had any alterations done. Yeah, and you got the Peabody.
Does it look like Peter Cushing is going to walk out of it at any point?
At night time, yes. Some of the buildings at night time, you expect the doors to open, creaky doors, the smoke rolling out, and some butler
standing there.
Black
wet clothing.
Well, yeah, welcome and all that sort of stuff. It's. I must admit, I'm like looking around now. I'm looking at the memorial square behind the car park and some of the buildings, and you've got a guest house which looks directly across the car park, which just looks creepy as. I wouldn't want to stay there, but it's.
Are you going to hopefully go live with your posh selfie stick and show us some of the sights of Salem at some point over the weekend?
I've been doing when I left home. I've been doing little videos which I'm going to cut and put into it. Loads of pictures, loads of little videos, and as we've walked around, and pictures of food, and usual touristy stuff. But also there's the videos of the witch's graveyard, and the hotel, the reception, the bar. Yeah. It's just as it was, and the hotel we're staying in, the Hawthorne, dates back to that era, and it's still family owned hotel, and it's so quaint, but it's beautiful. We had a little bit of an incident on the first night where obviously jet lag was sort of kicked in, so I was awake, and I felt something in the room, and MJ was staying in the same room. As well, and she set up like the Undertaker, with the hands crossed, bolt right. I'm in the bed opposite, and I'm thinking, what's she doing? And then, as out of the corner of my eye, I saw this black shadowy figure stand at the bottom of the bed, which MJ picked up on. And so it's interesting. Like all the floors there's certain floors that are more haunted, but they say that every single floor is haunted. There's been documented murders at the hotel, people throwing themselves out windows, suicides.
That was because we were singing, and I apologise.
Yeah, but yeah. I don't know whether obviously that's the hotel in the background of me.
Yeah.
Well, it all sounds absolutely fan-blinking-tastic, is what I'm going to say. Now, as I said before, Mark earlier said that every year he says never again, and then pops up with another Salem Con the following year. This is year 5. Is this the first Salem one you've been to? Salem Con you've been to?
Yeah. This is the first US over to the US for a convention. I've been to like a Comic-Con once and stuff like that, so I've seen a little bit how crazy the lot of Comic-Cons can be. Went to San Diego Comic-Con a few years ago, but this is the first like paranormal convention, and I think it's like Pringles. Once you've popped, you just want to keep eating, and you want to keep going back, and so.
See, there's another saying for that, but I'm just not going to go there.
Yeah.
Mark, I was
trying to keep it clean, Mark.
Okay.
Well, no, it's just...
Carl, how do the conventions differ from over there to over here?
I don't know because it hasn't started yet.
Have you not done anything yet? The investigation? No, nothing. Just hang out.
Just hung out. Got to just chatting with people, getting to know people, and like we had a little wander around at night. I was sat in reception they got seating area in the reception area on the first night because obviously I was tired being on the plane, and there's people wandering the hotel with the paranormal equipment, and they have the hotel. So yeah, go on, just don't make any noise. You can go and investigate and stuff like that. So people just come from all over America to come and investigate Salem. So, but no, the convention kicks off tomorrow, so I'll have a better understanding. So, be able to tell you the differences between the UK and America. But I'm pretty much sure that it's going to be the same. I'm just be interested in the different types of talks that they do. So.
Yeah,
Oh, Carl, there's a message for you in the chat room. Mr. PSH Radio himself, you know who that is. Carl is herself. Okay,
Herself.
Carl is allowed. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I totally thought it was somebody
Oh
else.
my God! Did you not know who it was, Mark?
That's so lovely. Is that amazing?
Sam, we apologise for Mark.
Oh, don't apologise for me because I am me. I'm an entity on my own. Anyway, Sam has said that Carl is allowed to do alien stuff in Vegas as long as we don't end up in jail. But again, I'm not going to go there.
Yeah,
jail?
We got some plans when we hit Vegas in October. We've got a couple of friends that are going to take us out and do stuff. So yeah, there'll be some alien stuff going on. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I just want to give a big shout out. I know that there are a few issues for people being able to get into the chat room tonight. I know you're listening, so thank you so much for joining us. And I know that you're having trouble accessing the chat room, but I know you're there. So shout outs to a few people that are behind the scenes lurking but can't access the chat room, like Joe and Jay, and Sam's in there, Ashley's in there. He's wishing you happy birthday. We've got, obviously, us lot are in there. Richard is in there too. Paul says, apologies for missing the show. He's actually out and about at the moment, but sends you his best wishes and your happy birthdays and all that stuff. And he'll catch up with you when you are back. He's sure. So loads and loads of messages coming through, but I know a lot of people are having trouble accessing the chat room at the moment, but they can still hear us, which is the main thing, right?
Absolutely. As long as you can hear us, that's all that matters, because with a radio show and you can't hear it is not really a radio show.
I know, right? It's like a bit like talking to ourselves here.
Well, we've got a TV show because we can see each other.
Well, yeah. But that's
I'm not so sure that's a good thing either.
Yeah,
well, no, because I mean,
guys, because that's coming.
I'm just glad it's not here already. Is all I
just wear clothes next time, Gemma. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Gemma is naked.
Oh, she's not quite naked. She's wearing a towel. Anyway, back to Carl over in Salem Con. Oh my goodness me, keeping control of him.
Oh God, somebody give Carl a pair of socks.
So, Carl.
She has got a towel on. I very quickly hasten to add to everybody. But where we're sitting, it looks like she's naked.
I was expecting some sort of dance. I'm getting a dance.
No, she would do that, but she'd knock some things off the lampshade.
Right?
Yeah, come on then, Gemma. It's Carl's birthday. Let's see it.
I've got dollar bills. So.
I was just about to say that.
So let's moving on because she's so red now.
Yes, please let's move on.
Creating a aerobic light going on over there.
Gemma, welcome to the Dark Mirror.
Oh.
The convention lasts all weekend.
Hello.
Yeah, you're there.
Okay.
The convention lasts Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
And then you're still there until Wednesday.
That's correct.
What are your plans once the con's done? That sounds wrong, doesn't it? Once the con's done, everybody. What are you up to? Are you in jail or do we have to bail you out?
I don't know. Yeah, but if you get a message, send bail money. You know it's gone to each other. I think the plan is we've got some friends that are flying in from various other places. They're coming out to meet us that we know. So they're not coming for the convention, but they're coming for just hang out with me for while I'm over in the States. So we've got about four people arriving Sunday. They're going to be here for a few days. MJ's got some plans we're going to be doing. I think we might take a little drive out further afield, see what's going on a little bit further afield.
So are you basically like MJ's running the show and you're just going, okay, like that's fine, we'll go and do this now? Is it a bit like that?
You have met MJ, have you not?
Oh, I have met MJ. Yeah, I know what she's like. So, and she packs her day in, doesn't she? She doesn't stop. She literally, from the minute she wakes to the minute she goes to bed, she's just on the go continually.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not even around right now because she's busy, isn't she?
Yeah, she's Grant Wilson. From people might know him from Ghost Hunters, does a podcast which MJ is currently filming with Grant at the moment. So
that's why she's not with us tonight, everybody. Oh, he's freezing, everybody. Freezing.
Oh.
Is he still there or is he gone? Is he there? Are you there?
Yeah.
There he goes.
I might have to turn off the video and just have it on sound because my battery's running out a little bit. So give me 2 seconds. If I disappear, add me back in.
No problem at all. We're going to have a quick look at the history of Salem Con whilst all this goes on. We knew it was going to be a little bit like this tonight. So let's go and have a little look at the actual history of the witch trials. Now, these occurred, obviously, in Salem between 1692 and 1693. More than 200 people were actually accused of practicing witchcraft and 20 were actually executed. Eventually, the colony admitted the trials were a mistake. Oh, my God, that is a mistake and a half, isn't it, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like they reckon that the original person who started off the trials was Tituba? I don't know how you pronounce it. Mm.
Well, they actually eventually compensated the families of those convicted. But, you know, of all the witch trials, I think this is the one that resonates the most because they admitted it was a mistake. And of how big, you've got to remember, Salem at that time was not huge. And it kind of was so widespread, wasn't it?
Correct,
like...
yeah.
Carl?
Yeah. Can you hear me? I'm just walking closer.
I think his signal may possibly have gone.
Yeah.
Cold.
Right.
It's fucking cold.
Oh, no. Yeah, definitely heard that one.
As you guys would say in England, it's bloody cold.
I say it is bloody cold. Yes, it is. Oh.
Bloody cold in the car park.
Carl is coming live to us from Salem in the car park.
Yeah.
So he's coming across all sorts of people whilst he's lurking in the car park. It just is crazy.
I love the way the signal cut back in exactly as he said that.
I know,
Just as an F-bomb.
You know what you were saying about Sen Bell?
Yeah, I think we might have to, in all fairness. So back to the history, Kerry. Where was we at?
Okay. So now there is a whole back history as to why this actually happened. Basically, the English rulers at the time, William and Mary, started a war with France in the American colonies. Now, this is known as the Queen William's War to colonists. I want to sort of say colonists.
Yeah, easy there.
I don't know.
It's not a bunch of columnists. No, a load of people for the time saying, oh, my God. You know?
It actually ravaged the regions of upstate New York, Nova Scotia and Quebec, and they were sending refugees into the county of Essex, and specifically the Salem Village in the Massachusetts Bay colony. Now, these displaced people created a strain on Salem's resources, which actually aggravated the existing rivalry between the families with ties to the wealth of the Port of Salem. So, you know, you've got all this bubbling away underneath, all this political crap bubbling away. Now, the Reverend Samuel Parris, at the time, who was the first ordained minister of the Salem's Village, wasn't very liked. He wasn't very liked at all. He was very rigid. He was very greedy. And the Puritan villagers believed that all the quarrelling was the work of the devil, mainly because of this Reverend Samuel Parris.
Nobody likes a stiff vicar. We know.
Well,
that.
it was his daughter, wasn't it, Elizabeth? At the age of 9, and was it his niece Abigail? She was 11. Is that right? Started having what they described as fits. Mm-hmm. They were screaming, throwing things, uttered peculiar sounds and words. contorted themselves into strange positions, and a local doctor blamed the supernatural for it.
Well, this brought into also what he was preaching at the time within the churches as well. So you can imagine how the mindset and the psychology of these people, how this became a maelstrom within Salem, can't you guys?
Thank you, sir.
Oh, God, yeah, definitely. It was only up until about the beginning of the 19th century, wasn't it? And even then, some people still said that, like, various forms of epilepsy and mental health issues and that were the devil, you know? So, yeah, definitely. Well, look at, what was that film? The Exorcist. That was based on a real story, and that shows you how recent it was.
Well, this is true. Now, all three women were brought before the local magistrates and interrogated for several days. Now, they say this started in 1692. Now, Tituba confessed, the devil came to me and bid me serve him, she said. She described images of black dogs, red cats, yellow birds, and a black man who wanted her to sign a book. She also admitted that she had signed this book and that there were several other witches looking to destroy the Puritans. Now, all of these three women were put into jail. But this is where the paranoia was planted. Now, they literally gave a stream of accusations over the following few months, and charges were put against many people in the Salem village, basically. Now, they even questioned one of the ladies that they questioned, Martha Corey. She was a really loyal member of the church, and this was like one of the upstanding members of the community. So when she got accused of being a witch, then anybody else could be. It really put that fear factor in. Now, Sarah Good, another one of the accused, they actually interrogated and questioned her 4-year-old daughter. And they
Really?
Said, yeah. And they said that because her answers were so timid, that was actually construed as a confession. 4 years
I'm sorry,
age.
but back then, you know, we all know that the witch-finding generals and stuff like that was all just for money. But, you know, their techniques and their beliefs and stuff, I'm sorry, but they were just messed up. Really messed up.
You've got to remember the time.
I know.
Carl?
No, I know.
One of the witches, I think, Emily Bishop.
Bridget Bishop.
Sorry. She was married, and her husband was quite wealthy, and her husband died, and she then took over the business. And we went to her house a little while yesterday. We went to her house. And they didn't like her being that wealthy, and they wanted to get her out, and then they basically got to the point where they accused her of being a witch, and she was obviously taken and tried and found guilty and was one of the witches that died. And that was literally just down to that she was female with wealth at that time.
Mm-hmm. There were so many. It was like it got hung on the smallest of things to accuse somebody. It really, wasn't it? It was just like when we started looking into this, it was like, you know, when you go, you can't believe some of the things that people were accused of that then got put into jail and accused of being a witch. I mean, the litany goes on and on and on. It's absolutely crazy.
Well, we was looking through this the other night, weren't we, Kerry?
Yeah.
And we was actually looking at the list, the whole list of the people that was not only executed, but also accused.
Yeah.
That's like the Assizes of Essex. Do you remember when we did the Assizes of Essex show about British witchcraft? And I found the list of all the witches and everything, and we went through all that, and it was exactly the same thing. They were treated disgracefully, absolutely disgracefully.
Now, Bridget Bishop, who Carl's been talking about, whose house he visited yesterday, was one of the first. She wasn't, the first person accused, but she was the first person tried because it was believed her case would just be the easy one to win. And she was actually hanged on June the 10th in 1692.
Yeah, I must admit that when you go to the witch's graveyard, and there's like a little, it's basically just a flagstaff, stones on the floor, in a little courtyard built into there, and there's literally these rocks that stick out, which has the name of the ones that were killed for being a witch, and it's in it. Then there's a graveyard next to it, and then you've got the witch's house next door to it, and it's quite It's open, like there's no fencing off. You can go there any time of the day. People bring flowers, and because they realise that mistakes were made.
Huge mistakes, like complete travesty of justice, effectively, wasn't it?
Well, a load of them died in prison as well, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And not just lady witches, male witches or warlocks, whatever you want to call them as well. Supposed.
Yeah, it wasn't just women in Salem. Men were accused as well. And it's absolutely horrific. The Reverend John Burroughs was the only Puritan minister to be accused and executed during the Salem witch trials. Burroughs was a minister in Casco, Maine during the 1670s, but left that settlement after it was attacked by Native Americans. He probably would have been safer staying there. He settled in Salisbury, Mass for a while and then got asked to serve as the new minister in Salem Village. Now, Salem people didn't disagree with this appointment, but he was not always paid his salary, and he borrowed money from the Putnam family to support his family. When he stopped being paid, he left Salem and returned to Maine. Now, at some point, the Putnam family sued Burroughs for failure to repay his debt. And then shortly after, he was accused of witchcraft. Burroughs was arrested. I know, strange that, right?
Yeah.
The amount of personal vendettas that got carried out in these witch trials was absolutely astonishing. I think that was the one thing that Gemma and I, when we looked at this, was actually quite shocked about. Was how
well, it was
personal vendettas.
It was that bit for us, wasn't it? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you see, as we was going through this, we got to this bit the other night, and it was like, okay, so you've had a falling out with somebody, so let's accuse them of being a witch, knowing that they're going to be imprisoned and possibly lose their life from it. It just does not bear thinking about.
It doesn't.
Oh God, one of them was pressed to death, and that was with the big stones that was placed on them, wasn't it?
Oh,
yeah. That was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And that was reserved as a torture and execution method for witches only, if I remember rightly. Nasty. And that was a male as well, Giles Corey.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just women. I think there is a misconception out there that of people thinking that it was just women, but men were accused as well. It was like, as I say, there was like 200 people were accused and put to trial, and some of them survived and some of them were executed. 20 were executed out of the lot. But it is a huge travesty of justice in this case. We will do a whole separate show just on the history of Salem because it is so involved. Trust me, and we're going to.
So this is the thing. If we was to go on for the full history, I mean, as we was looking at this the other night, Kerry, we've got about 48 pages.
Yeah.
I'd be about right, yeah.
If not more.
We'd be accused of witchcraft. I mean,
see,
all
this
of us
is what
guys,
we were
all
saying.
Of us in the paranormal. Yeah, we'd all be strung up.
That's what we were saying the other night. Literally, all of us, everybody into the paranormal, if this had been back in that day, we all would have run the risk of being hung.
Purely because we know stuff. You read a book, kill him. You know? He talks to strange creatures from another world. Kill him.
Carl?
Yeah, well, I totally agree with you. When you actually wander out in the place and you talk to some of the locals, and some of them were kind of embarrassed because of it, because of what their town has got this history. But this isn't the only place in Massachusetts that had the same thing. A neighbouring state in Hartford in Connecticut had exactly the same. They had a number of not as many as Salem, but the Hartford community hasn't. They don't like to talk about it. They don't have that. It's in the records. It's there, but it's happened. And I was talking to Jeff last night about it because he's written a book about the ones of Connecticut, in Connecticut, in Hartford, and it's just like shocking what you got accused of and what they did to you.
Yeah.
Basically, once you were convicted, they would say, well, if you die, you were innocent, but if you did this and you died, you were guilty, and there wasn't any way coming back from it. Once you were guilty, that was it. You were going to die.
That's it. Like Judge Jeffreys.
Stigma as well. I think after the trials, it might have all died down, and all the trials and that were done, and recognised that there was like this travesty. But I think it's that stigma, isn't it? It sticks.
Oh, yeah. The family names got hounded. A lot of them moved away and stuff like that. So,
well, look at the name Salem itself. So when anybody hears that name, they just associate it with bad stuff.
Yeah.
So what's the feeling of the place like, Carl? Do you get any feeling at all from it?
Yeah, there is because it's literally like it was back in that day. Obviously, there's new buildings and stuff like that, like any town and city that happens. But they've got the original facades and they've got the original buildings. They haven't torn them down and built them into car parks or anything like that. They've sort of kept them, and you do get wander around. We had a meal last night. Anybody that's a fan of Ghost Adventurers, the Lyceum Theatre, which is now a restaurant. Ghost Adventures, an episode. That's where we had our dinner last night, and you just look at the place, and there's like you just get a feeling as you walk into places like that. It's like the hotel, like the Hawthorne Hotel. You wander the corridors, and you do get a vibe. The room because I've come home from the car park, is fucking cold. A little bit blue, so I've just come up to the room so I could charge my phone and get better Wi-Fi connection. But the Hawthorne Hotel, literally, you talk to the staff, and they see this. Like there's a main staircase which comes down into reception, and they say, I think 2 weeks ago, one of the night porters saw a woman at the top of the stairs, and she wanders the corridors. There's a couple of very active rooms on the 3rd and 4th floor, which most of all the people that are staying at the hotel for the convention, we're all staying on the 3rd and the 4th floor. So because obviously, and you get a vibe, when you've been doing it for quite a while, you go into these locations and you go, yeah, something's a little bit different with this place. You get that feeling. And then you talk to some of the mediums that are here and some of the psychics and all that sort of stuff. And they picking up on this. They're picking up on women, kids. It's incredible. Like you walk around the whole of the town and you can do it pretty easy because it's not a massive town. And they've got like the statues, the squares. You've got literally behind the hotel, across the car park is where there's a battlefield, and they say you hear cannons and you hear like people at night because there was a battle where British lost a few people over here. You do get a vibe from the whole place.
How far away are you from Gallows Hill?
That's literally probably... I've seen the sign. I haven't gone to it yet. It's probably about a 15-minute walk.
Is that going to be something that you're going to be doing, Carly? You're going to be we're
going to a few places. Tomorrow, I think Monday, we're going to the Satanic Temple, which is pretty interesting, which is on the route there, and there's Gallows Hill. There's a couple of other places. Some of the original houses, the witch, the ones that died in the witch trials, they owned, and they've got like little museums and stuff like that. I might at some point go across and go to the Peabody Museum, which is a big family name, and they've got the Peabody Mansion and stuff like that.
Did you say that the Stallones own that hotel?
No.
I thought you did earlier because I was thinking Rocky Balboa owns that hotel. And just loads of weird images came in my head. Ignore me, it's the drugs. Right.
No, it's a really old family run hotel, and there's a couple of guys that I've seen in reception, and I believe that one of them is one of the older family archetypal figures that still wander around the hotel, and it's all hands on, and it's very quaint. It's very It's really, really, the hotel's amazing. The hotel is amazing.
I've got something to ask you three, actually. In regards to things happening and things hotting up and this, that, and the other, have you noticed any places that normally has a little bit of paranormal activity? Have you noticed that things have got a little bit busier lately? Because I'm only asking purely because one of the places I look after, which Gemma knows about because she's going to come down and have a look, I've had staff coming up to me and reporting certain events that have happened there, and this is the place I'm left on my own in all night, and I love it myself. But
you see, I think it's the other way around. All I seem to be seeing at the minute on social media is people saying, been to this location, wasn't very active, been to this location, been 1,000 times before, and it was nowhere near as active. So I think it's the same as any investigation, though. It's always going to be up and down. If it was the same the whole time, then we would have issues, right? Because that would mean that something's not quite right there.
We'd be talking Buffy the Vampire Slayer, wouldn't we?
Well, I'm thinking more we'd be talking it's psychological.
At work, I know there's been a few sightings, but it's got a bit often lately. Let's just put it that way.
There are things going on in the ether at the moment that, there are explanations that things are needing to happen first before stuff happens. I can't explain it better than that, I'm afraid, at the moment.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Something big is coming, but there's a build-up to it. But the build-up isn't actually about activity and interaction. There is something more going on in the ether that needs to occur before it sort of settles back down again, I think. Now, I want to go back to Gallows Hill at Salem. One of the popular misconceptions is that they were burned at the stake. They weren't. They were all hung. Now, the reason for this was English law only allowed death by burning to be used against men who committed high treason. And that was only after they had been hung until they were almost dead. And then they were quartered and drawn. So they were pretty much dead by the time they got burned anyway. But the English considered it an unacceptable death for women since it included nudity. All the imagery you see of people are dressed, and they're not, they're nude.
Yeah, because we was quite surprised about that as well, weren't we, Kerry, when we was looking into it. It was like, really?
Doesn't it sound daft? I mean, like, I think you've been talking to animals. I think you've been doing strange herbs and putting hexes and curses on people, but we can't get you that way because we might see your boobies.
Well, burning at the stake was actually more popular in countries with a strong Catholic link because it didn't involve shedding of blood, because that was not actually allowed in the Roman Catholic doctrine.
Spain, they did it a lot on the Spanish Inquisition. That's it.
Yeah, because, and that's why it was
nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
And that's why, because of the Roman Catholic doctrine, was about not shedding of blood. So it's interesting when you look into this stuff. It's dead interesting, guys. Dead interesting, horrifying, absolutely horrifying. Now, earlier on, Carl, you said about they're a little embarrassed still about the tragedy that happened in Salem and other places in America where these kind of situations occurred. But it's important that we remember these things, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And that's a lot of the things of which certain writers are doing. They want to keep it out. They want to document it. They want to write about it just because they want to keep it and remember it and remember this horrible time.
And as horrible as it is this not a lesson?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I personally think you got to learn from it. So.
Well,
religion has a lot to answer.
I think what it shows is also a huge psychological factor of the hysteria people can face. It's one of those facets, isn't it, of jumping on the bandwagon, that mass hysteria that can take place in certain circumstances.
Yeah,
and the old green-eyed monster of the human race. Because let's face it, a lot of these people that was imprisoned for witchcraft was all down to the green-eyed monster, which is horrific.
And a lot of them were girls, youngish women that were had their tales told to people by jealous young ladies.
Mm-hmm.
And it was literally just rivalry, and she's prettier than me, and it's pathetic, really. Some of these reasons are just pathetic.
Even the ladies that were pregnant, they would be kept until they'd actually given birth to the children and then hung.
Yeah,
I think
it's ridiculous.
I think people go, oh, it was the witch trials, it happened back in the 1600s, blah, blah, blah. But there are more recent cases of this witch hunt mentality that happened. You only have to go back to the Cold War, where you had people searching for communists and the hounding of that. Okay, they weren't burned at the stake or hung or whatever, but you only have to look at cases like that, and you kind of see it on social media quite a lot, the witch hunt, don't you? So it is worrying that mentality is still out there, really. Do you not feel, guys?
Mm-hmm.
I think, my view, a lot of stuff is all to do with religion. And you know yourself, when you've got staunch types of religion, as in Salem, the vicars and everything that were there, are going to make people fear this, that, and the other, and think that this, that, and the other is going to happen, and that it's wrong in the eyes of God, and this, that, and the other. Instead of just going, well, actually, it's part of life, and these things do happen. It's like, oh no, you can't do that.
You look at the news at the moment, and you look at what's happening in Brunei.
Where
basically they've just passed a law.
Sharia law.
If you're homosexual, you'll get stoned to death.
Ridiculous, isn't it?
So it's we're supposed to be in a modern world, but this sort of stuff is still happening.
Yeah, it does still happen.
Victimizing certain beliefs, certain lifestyles, all that sort of stuff. It's still happening.
Religion and money, the root to all evil.
One thing I would like to say before we end the show is a lot of the people that were the accusers did come forward and apologise after the event, but it was far too
late then. Bit late then, surely.
For this. Now, Samuel Paris, who was obviously the Reverend, who was actually the main instigator of all of this, basically blamed everybody else for it. He put most of the blame on his servant, Tituba, and was very slow to apologise. He did not apologise until 1694, and his apology consisted of, I may have been mistaken.
Let's not forget, though, Samuel Paris, he was the father of Betty, one of the first accused girls, so...
Yeah, accusing girls.
No, accusing girls, yeah, sorry, yeah.
He was actually kicked out of the village in 1696 and spent the rest of his life trying to repair the reputation to himself, really, on that one. He kind of ruined himself through all of this, and I kind of think that is just about just desserts. For Samuel Paris. Now, anyway, we've actually come to the end of the show, my beautiful people. Thank you, Carl, so much for taking time out to join us tonight.
All right, it's an hour.
Happy birthday, darling.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, happy birthday, big guy.
Happy birthday, and try and go live so you can actually show us some of the sites that you're seeing.
What I'm going to do, I'll try and do something tomorrow. Actually, at the conventions, like going around the vendor table, showing you the vendors. Obviously, it's Wi-Fi thing, but I tested it in the car park, and the Wi-Fi was good in the car park. Obviously, that's because that's where I was.
With your cigar?
Yeah, with my cigar, yes. But yeah, no, I'll try and do some stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to. Obviously, got the VIP party tonight. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Thank you so much again for joining us live from Salem. That would be absolutely awesome. It's been fantastic.
Can I just say one thing?
Of course.
Just want to thank everybody that has sent me a message, dropped me a message, and put on Facebook, all my social, wishing me happy birthday. I haven't replied to any of them because there's hundreds of them. When I get more time, I will start replying. But I just want to put a personal thank you to everybody that sent me best wishes for my birthday, and it is really appreciated. So I just want to put that out.
Very much so. Now, don't forget, guys, we are now off basically for the weekend. We are back on Monday. I will be going live on the Parasearch Radio group page to give you a rundown of the weekly shows. If you have Parasearch withdrawal symptoms over the weekend, you can pop over to our YouTube channel. We have two channels over there. We have Parasearch Radio and Archive Parasearch Radio, and that is basically every single show for the last 2 years that Parasearch has been running with some amazing guests and topics that we have previously covered. Whilst you're over there, don't forget to click like, share and subscribe. And on that note, my beautiful people, let's say good night, guys.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
And for once, I was actually shutting the hell up so that people could talk. Good night.
We didn't notice. Good night.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.